Hey everybody, this is a short video for my web design class on responsive web design. So we're going to go over today what is responsive web design, taking a look at a couple examples and talking about why is this important to think about when we do web design. So our learning targets for today, one, I can identify how sites change to be responsive, and two, I can explain why responsive design is important. Great. Our warm up today, I want you to think a little bit about what makes you click off of a web page the fastest? Like what really annoys you when it comes to web pages? Is it A, loading takes too long, B, too much scrolling, C, text, the images are too small, or D, you're unable to browse because of ads? This picture is a little outdated, but I think it is one of the best images that kind of tongue in cheek talks about how websites look today. A lot of times people say D, unable to out browse because of ads, which is true. But there are some other problems with websites that are mostly due to poor responsive design. Too much scrolling, text and images too small. If you have that issues with your website, the odds are it's an issue with your responsive design. Sorry, my background keeps being annoying. It's just how it is. So we're going to talk about that today. What exactly is responsive design? So if you've done the reading in the class, it takes you to W3 Schools, which talks a little bit about responsive web design, which is about making your web page look good on all devices. That's the key part here. Makes a website functional, makes a website look good on all devices. And what this means in practicality is that each website you make, actually you have to design 3 times. So you have to decide what it looks like on the desktop, what it looks like on a tablet, and what it looks like on a phone. If you've ever gone to the same website but on different things, so maybe you go on your desktop and then you're like, oh, I still need information for it, and you pull it up on your phone, it's going to look different. And that's because of the size of the screen, right? If you had a desktop style web page on your phone, it would be really bad because you'd have to scroll all the time. So this has become more and more important as we have been using phones more and more. And as a web designer, that means you need to think about how are you going to make your web page look good on desktop, on tablet, and on phone, because odds are people are going to be using all 3 to look at your web pages. So how exactly do you do that? Well, you adjust where content is. You can take images and text and resize them. Hide them. Maybe you don't need them anymore. Shrink them. Maybe they just need to be smaller. Enlarge them. Maybe they need to be bigger. And generally move them around. This is usually done through something called CSS media queries. You don't really have to know what this is, but if you go further into web design, you're going to become used to that. There's a way that in your CSS it can check how big the size of the screen is or the size of the browser is, and then decide where to put things based on that. This is why layouts like Flexbox and Grid are helpful because they're done through CSS and they're a lot easier to move around. You can see an example of this. It's kind of small, but you can see an example of this on this website up here. Here's what it looks like on desktop. Here's what it looks like on mobile. Notice you don't have the sidebar anymore on mobile or on tablet. And then on mobile, it takes all of the articles and puts it in one column. All right, let's take a look at some other examples. I'll put these links in my class posting. But here's an example again from W3 Schools. There's a lot of examples. I don't remember if there's a lot of examples in the responsive web design templates. So if you're just seeing this video, you can always go to W3 Schools and go to the templates and find the link. The first one I want you to look at is this one, the My Portfolio. I want you to just notice what changes when you resize the window. So here's the window on desktop. As I make it smaller, what changes? Okay, there's tablet. Here's what the phone design looks like. So again, notice what changes. one of the first things I notice is that the sidebar turns into a hamburger menu. So watch it. Boom, hamburger menu. If I click on the hamburger menu, then it pops up again. I also notice as these get smaller, the pictures also get smaller, but the text doesn't get smaller. It doesn't make the text smaller, it just wraps it differently. And then once we get to mobile, it just does one article at a time. And then again, when we get back to desktop, it has the 3 articles. It has more options up here. Collapse the hamburger menu. All right, so this is an example of a responsive web design. It changes based on how big it is. All right, so here's a look at another one. So this is what it looks like to start. So this one has 2 designs. So the mobile and the desktop. Again, think about what do you notice, what changes based on how big the website is. And then lastly, looking at one more. Here's what it looks like to start. Think about what happens to the photos, what happens to the words, what happens to the menu. All right. So after looking at these, hopefully you have a better idea of what responsive web design is, but you might be thinking, okay, so what? Why do I care? This is a stat that is a little old. It's from 2021, but you can see the clear trend of this, right? Makes this essentially makes the web more accessible. It makes it so all people can read everything. So phones can access just as well as desktops. This doesn't gatekeep your content or keep your content away from people who may only have phones to look at this stuff. Mobile browsing is on the up and up. I'm sure you know this as a part of the digital age, as I was growing up, more and more people are using their phones to do more and more things. More than 50% of internet traffic is via mobile, and I only foresee that going up as phones become more and more integrated in our life. This graph is really talking about the digital divide. Share of incomes with lower incomes who rely on their smartphones for going online has roughly doubled since 2013. So if you want to be able to reach more people, if you have a website that's especially for helping people who maybe don't have as much money or who need different services, it's really important that you have responsive web design because if you don't have something that caters to mobile, you're going to lose those people. And excuse my emoji using. If it's not pretty, it's not getting clicks. As you know, the internet is a big place. It's the frontier for e-commerce, marketing, all of that stuff. So there's a lot of options out there. If you don't have the good design, it's not gonna work. Again, you can see here the trend from 2012 to 2022, how much phone traffic has gone up. Okay, this plus the reading that you do and the links looking in the website should help you for the responsive design quiz. It's 5 questions, so you can go ahead and take that as directed to in the announcement slash the other video that I post. Hopefully this is a nice little introduction or review of responsive web design to you. The goals of this class was to help you identify how websites change to be responsive and explain why responsive web design is important. If you totally got this, you're at a 5. If you kind of got this, you're at a 3. If you don't got this at all, you're at a 1. If you're in the 3 to 1 zone, maybe take some time, do the reading. You can look up responsive web design. There's a lot of great stuff out there. Maybe rewatch this video. And then when you're ready, take the quiz and the D2L. All right. Thanks, folks.